Welcome back to the Leroy Brown Talk Show. I'm your host, Addison Leroy Brown. Now, this program today, we're going to talk about the qualities of a leader. Now, I served in the Army for 10 years. I'm not going to be a platform for the Army recruiting, but I used to be an Army recruiter, and as an airborne infantryman, I can absolutely tell you I hated being a recruiter. I hated being behind a desk. But I used that opportunity to influence troops to end up going in a path that I think would move them forward. But I steered Americans towards gaining a career that would pay when they got out versus, going a combat job, which, really, there's not really a whole lot of jobs out there. I earned my Army recruiter ring. To be a leader, one must be willing to guide others in a direction with a purpose instead of trying to push everyone to their end. Growing up in the Army from E1 to E5 or private to sergeant, you learn a lot of good things. The best advice that I received was from Sergeant First Class Dewhurst. He told me to take notes of your chain of command, take note of the good and the bad, implement the good, because how you lead soldiers as an NCO will influence future NCOs under you and around you. A leader must be able to face adversity. The saying of Murphy's Law that anything that can go wrong will go wrong. You must be able to make a decision that no matter what has a good outcome. You must be able to look at a situation before it happens and have a plan for every scenario that may come about. Now, this can be found in every walk of life. Poor decisions lead to terrible outcomes. My father always said, do good when no one is looking, and good things will tend to follow. One of the best quotes that I try to live by is our former president and commander-in-chief and general of the Revolutionary War, George Washington. He said, associate with good people with quality if you want to better yourself, for it's better to be alone than be surrounded in bad company. Hang out with drug users, alcoholics, or lowlifes. You're going to end up going down that path. Instead, try to hang out with people that you want to be surrounded with, who are going to build you up and make you a better person. Leadership just doesn't happen. You're measured by those around you. You're measured by the people beneath you, above you, and to your left and to your right. The decisions that you make depend on how good of a leader you're going to be. You have to be able to make the right decisions when no one is looking. Whenever I had a private who overstepped or made a bad decision, I would always pull them aside and say, now, we all make mistakes. I believe in the Bible, and one of the good things about the Bible is it teaches you that everybody makes mistakes. Do you want to be having this reputation of being a dirtbag, or do you want to be the person that we can count on? Because when the bullets start flying, I need to be able to count on you just like everybody else needs to be able to count on you. I want you to think of yourself right now as an NCO, as a sergeant, instead of looking at the fact that you're a private. I know you will be a great leader if you follow the steps that I teach you. Now, we all can sit here and say, well, Leroy, you don't understand. I wasn't just given what you were given. It's been rough for me. Well, that's not really that true when it comes to me. I was born in Augusta, Georgia in 1986. My parents worked 2 jobs. We moved a lot. Wherever my mom or my dad could get a job that paid better than the job before, we moved to. That's why we went from Aiken to Hilton Head to Jacksonville, Florida to Arlington, Texas. By the time I was in high school, my dad had 6 back surgeries. My mom was, in my senior year, going in to her 2nd brain operation. She had a tumor on her pituitary gland. And, that's another way of saying it. She had brain cancer. I worked all throughout high school. I played sports and worked, and, I knew that even though I was a great baseball player, and even though, I excelled in other things, that my parents, along with my outlook, was there was no way to pay for college, so I went in the Army. And, for the most of it, the Army was a greater decision. Now, you could have said that that adversity was what was going to, define me as a child. But, in the Army, I had adversity too. I was wounded May 19th, 2007. They were minor injuries, but they ended up being bigger injuries that took place in 2009. They ended up being steps towards sending me to a WTU in 2014. I retired, and in 2014 to 2019, I tried getting gainful employment. And, I could have sat there and said, well, nobody wants to hire me, nobody wants to, work with me. but I was able to land this job. As long as you're honest people, as long as you're loyal to those people, as long as you're trying to help others, as long as you're making great decisions that are, going to influence others and lead others, I think not only in the CSRA but in Augusta, we're going to better ourselves as a community. And if we all just try a little bit every day to be a better person, eventually Augusta's going to become great. Georgia's going to become great. South Carolina's going to become great. And at the end of the day, not only will it make our city, our state, and those around us better, but eventually it'll make our country better. And that's just my piece of advice. Keep tuning in to the Leroy Brown Talk Show, and hopefully you like everything you hear.